What's up, everyone? This is Dan from ZGRWhyUDead, and as most of you know by now, I've been without an internet connection for almost a month now, and I haven't had much to do as far as League of Legends is concerned, so I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls. I've completed the game 4 times now, and I figured, what the hell, I'm going to record a playthrough and see if it could be helpful to some of my viewers. I'm going to do kind of an unconventional playthrough here as a sorcerer that's going to maximize an early game advantage for me, kind of with a glass cannon build, and I'm just going to try to get through it as quick as I can. Now, this is going to be a lot different from traditional Let's Plays or walkthroughs, as I'm going to edit it so that it's not quite so boring and you see the entire game. And I'm not all that entertaining to listen to anyway, so I'm not going to feed you full of bullshit. So, here we go.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease, and Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Damn, I'm ugly. So this is really where the game starts, and before I get started, I want to point out that I'm recording this with a new recording device that I just got from AverMedia, and I'm actually going to review it on my main channels, youtube.com/ZeitgeistReview, called the, I believe it's the AverMedia HD video game recorder, something like that. I'll get the exact title later. I'll link to the product below as well because it's pretty slick. It's actually a device that lets you record your video games in HD without having a computer connected. So you can actually connect a USB 2.0 external hard drive or an internal laptop hard drive to the device. And it's got a remote control, which makes it really easy when you're sitting on your couch recording video games. Traditionally, people use the Hop-Hog HD PVR to record their video, and I think that this one might actually be a little bit superior. With my 500 gig hard drive, I was able to record the entire session on my one drive without having any problems at all, with a significant amount of storage space left over, and I recorded it in 720p. So this is the first encounter that you run into in the Undead Asylum, and it's just a big fat ass, and you just kind of run by him because, well, I don't know, it's you can't really kill him with the starting weapon because it does like 2 damage. So this is the tutorial zone that teaches you how to play the game for those of you who haven't played, and I'm kind of just going to rush through it because I've done it so many times. You basically get some starting gear and you learn the basic mechanics of the game. Now keep in mind, I'm playing this all single player because, again, I don't have any internet access, so I'm not going to see summon signs from other players, I'm not going to see messages from other players, but that's not that big of a deal because I'm pretty efficient on my own anyway. And to me, the Sorcerer, which I'm playing, is the, I don't know, most overpowered class, PvE-wise at least. It's not all that great PvP because the Sorcerer abilities are really easy to dodge, but regardless, it's really fun to play single player because it's so easy. Well, at least it's easy for me. Now, when I'm in the Undead Asylum, I always open up this door and then save to this bonfire. And for those that don't know, when you sit down at a bonfire, it resets the game. It resets all the enemies that you've killed, and it gives you more. It gives you all of your Estus flasks back. And your Estus flasks in this game are what are used to heal yourself. In Demon Souls, you had all of the different grasses. The Estus flasks, you start with 5, and then you can get up to 20 eventually of various strengths. And it really adds a new degree of strategy to the game because you have to really make sure that you're going to have enough Estus flasks to keep yourself alive.
You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: "Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the Undead Asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know." Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
So those are the Estus flasks that I was talking about. Again, that they heal you when you press the square button for the PlayStation. I am playing this on the PlayStation, by the way. As far as the sorcerer goes, he starts with some, I don't know, pretty terrible gear. It's just some cloth armor, a target shield which does not block anything for the most part, and then a dagger, and then a catalyst. Now a catalyst is required to actually cast spells, and that's what I'm equipping right now. And the only spell I start with is a soul arrow. Now what's nice with the sorcerer over other classes is he's actually allowed from the start to have up to 3 different spells at one time. So you'll level up a stat called Attunement in this game, which basically lets you have a limited number of spells at a time, and each spell has a limited number of charges. So you can't, there's no mana potions, so you can't just continually spam spells in this game. You have to choose which spells that you're going to want for a particular area, and you only have that many charges. Now, when you rest at a bonfire, you can change which spells you want to use, and you get all of your charges back. So that adds a little bit more depth and strategy to playing as a caster in this game. Now right here is going to be the first boss we ran into before, and now that we have our spells and our weapons, we'll be able to attack him better. And when you fall from above, if you attack like I just did there, you do a lunge attack, and that does a significant amount of damage to enemies. And then I'm just going to pummel him with soul arrows from afar. This is a pretty easy boss. It's a little harder for melee classes, but again, the sorcerer is pretty overpowered as far as PvE is concerned in Dark Souls. So that was a pretty easy fight, and you get a humanity and a key that basically lets you out of the Undead Asylum. I'm going to pick up an item here on the left, and then I'm going to exit the zone essentially. I'm going to take the time to explain what humanity means. Basically, you start the game as an undead, and when you're undead, you can't summon other players to help you. So you use items called humanity, and that's in the top left corner. You can see the double zeros. That's my humanity counter. And when I use humanities, that will increase, and that will actually be used at bonfires to bring me back to life and to kindle the bonfire, which basically lets me have more Estus flasks.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Now this is where the real game starts. If you've enjoyed the playthrough so far, stay tuned for part 2.